He somewhat played down the military operations that are being conducted. He talked at great length about, a particular battle, the one in Krinki. This is unusual because he was actually asked a direct question about, what is going on in Krinki? Why are these Ukrainian soldiers there on the east bank of the Dnieper? Why haven't we defeated them? Why are we allowing them to stay there? And he explained the whole thinking about that. And by the way, in the process, he provided quite a lot of information about his own personal interactions with the defense minister and with the chief of general staff, Shoigu, and Gerasimov. He was careful not to name them, by the way. But the overall message, apart from confidence that things are going his way, Russia's way, on the battlefields, was that the Russian objectives have not changed. They are the same as they always were, that Russia will pursue the four objectives that he set out at the very start of the military operation, that these remain: demilitarization, denazification, neutrality for Ukraine, and protection of Russians in Ukraine, and of course now the recognition of the.
All right, I guess we can start. Don't know where to begin. Where to begin? I can't, but can't to begin. Can't begin to knowing. But then you came along. All right. Earlier, CAUD was up. It was as high as 161. I continue to believe that has a rally in it. The risk in CAUD is you might have a somnolent board. These are very talented people, but they've been used to getting promoted by being agreeable, by getting straight A's, following presentations by professors and lawyers and investment bankers. Make no mistake, if they listen to Aubrey Spack, Caldon, and or the lawyers, actually, and or Polar and those three hedge funds, Chardon, Chardan. They might as well not be on the board. The company will be put into dire straits, just like company after company after company that you've followed. But I think there's enough pressure, enough knowledge. I've been working on a letter to the board. I'm going to have to tone it down because I get worked up. But anyway, I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what I see as the risk. What I see as positives, I think there's going to be at least one or two press releases before the end of the year. And I think there's big buying. There's less than 1 million, probably as low as 300,000 shares in the effective float. 50 million shares have traded since when I can't remember the day CAUD first started trading, but about a month. The outstanding shares are only 13 million. And of that, the float is 3 million something. And of that, 80% or more is closely held. Where's all this stock coming from? Where is it coming from? And the idea, this is what the liars, I'm not saying the people that say this, that believe this is the story. The original criminals present this lie that it's algorithmic trading. Well, how the hell does algorithmic trading, that implies buying and selling, how come it's always down? And it's always down in a massive, massive way. Why is that? Because they're criminals and they are selling stock that doesn't exist. Does that look like there was any buying? That was just selling, just selling, just selling, just selling, just selling. And then maybe somebody came in like Brent to buy and suddenly it was up. And then I was just selling it back down, selling it down, selling it down. There's no back and forth. It's here. But if the board wants to believe that somehow this is just standard algorithmic institutional trading, well, then we're doomed. And I mean that. You know, they might get upset and they might say, oh, that's unfair. We're talented. It doesn't matter how talented they are. It doesn't matter how many revenues come in. If they don't recognize the peril, they don't recognize the peril. It's about all you can say about it. If they don't recognize it, they don't recognize it. All right. Let's get off of that. Anyway, I think CAUD is there's a lot of buying interest in it. I believe insiders are buying, and I know there's been big buying by insiders, or people close. That's a better way to put it. People close to the company, and that's interesting. Let's look at Logic. I'm just going to go down my 10 stocks that I've recently looked at. Logic is 0.024. The ask is a little higher, so it's about 2.5 cents. That's going to be under pressure for the tax loss reasons. Tax loss selling. But I really think that's something to accumulate if you have a 90-day horizon. What's wrong with 90 days? I mean, a lot of things happen in 90 days. All right. Vocal 0.0092. That's actually in the green. 9 million shares traded. I think Vocal is a stock to accumulate during this time based on Jeremy Frommer's willingness to fight the criminal shorts. His blind spot is he can't bring himself to believe that guys like Jeff Easton and Kurt Kramer really are all that smart and really could be doing this. Well, at least that was his blind spot. I don't know if it still is. The key to Vocal is going to be that the revenues start to hockey stick and they start accelerating. And then who knows? Maybe he can buy back shares. That would be one brilliant thing to do. But as long as if the revenue can accelerate beyond their burn rate, and then what we would love if it really grows quickly, but just steadily growing would be good too. They need to get away from the toxic criminals like Jeff Easton and Kurt Kramer and their clients. It may be too late. It may be too late. Once a CEO provides the criminal hedge funds, the criminal counterfeiters with a tool which can show the prime brokers that, in essence, the upside risk that the prime broker is taking is capped, they just go to town and they just start counterfeiting shares. for some reason, a very powerful voice gets across that there's systems in place, that these are just good clients. It's just selling out, high frequency selling, and the numbers we see don't include buybacks or deliveries. I think this is a mistake to believe it that way. There's evidence. Suzanne Trimbath, Dr. Suzanne Trimbath, the redhead from Overstock, Patrick Byrne, I can't, the Ansem Funds article, the toad on front, that's just to name 3. But there's plenty of evidence out there that the criminals sell non-existent stock. They don't deliver it and they don't buy it back. But if you want to believe, hey, everything's good, there's systems, it's just it's our bad fortune, we just really stepped in it, well, good luck getting your stock price to go. This is gamemanship on a huge scale. These criminals already have all the games. They have the lawyers, they have the overpaid wankers, they have the politicians, they have the regulatory bodies, they have the computers, they have the journalists, they lie, and then they use your own disbelief against you. And they look like you, their kids go to the same schools as you do, they take you to dinner, they knew your father. They're criminals. There is something wrong in their brain and in their heart. But if you don't see it, your companies get, after they've eaten their meal, they wash their hands and see you later. That's what's kind of where Vocal is. But I'm willing to see what Jeremy can do again. And how much can you lose here? Well, I guess whatever you put up, you can lose it all. But that's a good January effect candidate. HNRC 0.022. To buy it is 0.025. Net asset value 62 cents in a press release. The only risk there, and I'd love to get Frank Kristen on just to talk to it, but he may also be blinded. Benchmark International introduced one of his financing, and Benchmark is who introduced Fngr to the Lynn partners. It's a dastardly circle. But anyway, if he did not take that kind of financing, this is under pressure because of tax loss selling. That's a good candidate for buying now, selling at the end of January. How high could it go? I mean, if it just goes to 10 cents, you got a nice trade. If it just goes to 7 cents, you got a nice trade. Go Logic 47.6, only 201 shares. Good luck building a position there, but it's 30 cents by 50 cents. I believe Go Logic is going to go through the same split of assets. It's all announced. You can look it up. They're going to put the fintech assets with the Shell, buying the Shell RCRT. That'll be NASDAQ. And then Go Logic will be a Shell, which gets a big company put into it. This will be run by Brent. And I'm telling you, Aubrey SPAC, I think there's a Quisling in there. Or the whole group was set up just to defraud investors. And the reason they can do it is because they figure if the lawyer says it's okay, we're not doing anything wrong. And they go to their mass or their temple or their church. They give away to their charities. They give their little daughter a nudge on her ear and send her off to school. buy their wife a nice new car, and they're happy. Order caviar once in a while, have a nice meals, nice trips. Hey, what could be wrong? The lawyer said it was all right. It's not true. The lawyers can be corrupted. Also, lawyers don't look at what's right and wrong. What can we get away with? Anyway, GoLogic, I think, could be a $4 stock, $8 stock. It was over 8 when it was first released. So that's another January effect stock, I think. NVOS, which is a NVOS, I think, is a Dan Borders stock. And I think Avid did a video on it. That's $1.17. I don't know much about it. They did a reverse split. The low on the year is 69 cents. My gut tells me this may not be one that rallies in January. Why? It's not trading at its lows. It's not suppressed enough. But anyway, it may be. I don't know much about it. The smarter people than I recommend it. GTII is 42.5 cents. 600,000 down 2 cents. I think that's a candidate for for the January effect. I also think, though, that I'm not a technician. I guess we'd have to ask Arca. Any stock can go down from any point. And I have no idea. I'd have to look at a chart. But there may be support here that we got to be very careful of, because if it breaks, that's not good. But anyway, this is the price range from which GTI made one of its most impressive runs. So, I put that in my list of candidates for a January effect rally. And I'm not telling you to focus on just one, maybe. And these are trades. And I'm not saying use all your money. I'm not saying sell it. It's just to do a January effect. The gentleman, Ape Master, I think, NXU, it's down 0.0206. To me, that stock trades like it did a toxic, dilutive, criminal financing. But what's interesting about it is they did do an alliance with Lynx Motors, and it didn't seem onerous. It didn't seem like a cram down. Also, it too is trading near its 52-week low, and the high was 11.30. So 2 cents. I mean, could it be a January bounce? Sure. But I don't know much about that stock. And I went to a meeting last night. I didn't have a chance to study the Edgar filings. Fngr 406, 238,000. Regardless of the January effect, to me, Fngr is behaving below the surface in a very strong fashion. They got it up to 450. Now it's pulled back, but that ebb and flow, that pushing, it's like sending flowers and phone calls and notes and knocking on the door of a girl that you're sweet on, and it's no, and you get set back. And then for some reason, she changes your mind and she opens her door and you're in then. But that's what I feel like Fngr's in the middle of. Fngr to me looks like it might be this might be an accumulation phase, and something stronger might be about to happen. I'm not saying in one day. I'm saying January, February. So anyway, what else? That's it. Oh, GDC's up 3 cents. It was as high as 44 this year. I don't know anything about GDC, except I think I know who the big buyer is. So I'd be willing to just buy it. But remember, I'm somebody that worked on Wall Street. And if somebody called me with an idea and they say, and I trusted that person, buy it. It's not the way you should do it. But I would say GDC definitely has the potential for a nice trade going into January. Is trading at $3 basically. It's been as high as $4 and the low's $2. Anyway, Ham's coming on in 3 minutes. Um, ah, GDC is a Univest stock. There you go. So that's a good one, I think, Dad. And look, there must be others. I wrote them down before. Off the top of my head. CNLV might be good. Wolf might be good. And I'm sure there's, you can probably make a list of 10 or 12, 15, 20 more. But all I'm suggesting, if you picked out 2 or 3, 4 of these January effect candidates, you might be surprised. You might have a nice little trade for 35, 40 days from now or sooner. Yeah, GDC is 290. Thank you for saying that, Hidden Agenda. That's awesome. So we got 2 minutes to yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, that's a half an idea. There's the start of the idea. And then there's the other half. P Money, thank you for your comment. I'm not going to highlight it. I'll put this up, Edward. I don't know about that. So I guess your point is Univest is not a good banker. I don't know. I think this is a bad time to do an offering. Follow-on offerings, that's secondaries, rarely trade up. Secondaries imply dilution. It depends what the money's used for. It depends if the company is in urgent need of that money. I just don't know enough about that. But I put it up so people get both sides of the story. Is a Wall Street settlement Mmtlp likely to be higher per share if they're not in AST? Well, there won't be a settlement for shares in AST in Nextbridge. I do think there's a high likelihood that any deal struck will give you kind of a mulligan. I don't play golf, but they'll let you pick up your ball and hit it again. I think they'll include, well, what if somebody's got their shares at Nextbridge and they want a settlement? I think there'll be a minor window that you can reverse that. All right. The other thing is there'll be a cash distribution probably as a dividend. That might go to everyone. All right, here is the voice. Oh, hang on, relax, everyone. I've got to get you on the right speaker, which I did set up, but all right, here we go.
Battery 100%.
Okay.
Connected to Bill's iPhone.
The voice, the audience.
Welcome again, another shitty day in paradise. Beautiful out here in New York today. That's the only thing we got going on. My wife COVID, my daughter's got COVID, and I'm hiding in the house so I don't get COVID. So I'm kind of running in and out. So this is not to buy or sell. This is information about security fraud. And as you can see, the manipulation, the cha-cha continues. It's relentless. I don't understand it, but they just keep doing it. Obviously, we can see what's going on GTI every day. They've been manipulating it down a penny here, a penny, half a penny, whatever they can do just to mark it down. You remember, they're just selling it back and forth to each other and hoping that someone bails out for tax reasons, And Fngr, I posted that they now have January 25 and January 26 calls.
So they ensured that the option change goes out to January 2026, which is complete fraud, by the way, just so you know. There's no reason to have options out that far. And just like MMTLP, what market maker is approving this? A market maker needs to get that done, not an individual. All right. We've been hearing that the Fngr motion is the rumors that they're going to do a special dividend. And based on what I'm seeing with Mark Brazil and Tapabara, it makes total sense. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon. So pay attention to that. And again, we all know we have these guys. They're in this doctor. They're in a bad way. The company's fundamentals are too solid, and there's too much information behind the scenes on this thing, and that's coming out. Like you just saw with Mark in the Southern District. So again, hopefully Mark will lead the charge to go after Lynn Partners next. Public companies are using their money that they use for business to use lawyers to try to go protect their company and shareholders from security violators that the SEC does nothing about. Think how crazy that is. Companies that need funding, imagine if you don't have the money, what do you do? That's what you're seeing out there. Now I'm going to give you a story, and I can't fill in all the blanks, but I'll give you as much as I can. I was called by law enforcement the other day, the top law enforcement people in the country. I can't give you names or anything like that. But the funny thing happened on the way. The people in the enforcement agency all purchased. Some purchased MMTLP, but a lot are in Fngr motion. Just like you and me, law enforcement's looking for opportunities to make money for their families. And guess what? They all got screwed. And now they're ripping mad. And they want to help me to enforce it and working on a federal claim or lawsuit to go after them. So I've been figuring out what's the best way to do it. In my opinion, okay, this is going to be run past the enforcement agency's security division. I believe the best way to go after them is go after the brokers. And I've been posting this stuff up about a special dividend will expose them. And the way to attack them is just like they did to Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff was sending out false statements. Okay, just give me 1 second. I can read you. Hold on 1 second. I took a photo about Bernie Madoff. Where is it?
He's dead.
Nah, I can't find it. I have a photo of the charges that Bernie Madoff that went against him. And let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I can't remember all the charges. That's why. All right, here we go. Okay. He sentenced to life in prison on March 12, 2009. Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal felonies, including security fraud, wire fraud, mail fraud, money laundering, making false statements, perjury, theft from an employee's benefit plan, and making false filings with the I don't know what all those things mean, but 7 of them I do understand. Brokerage firms, if they do not have a share, like Gtii, to back up the dividend share, they are sending out false statements, they're lying, whatever the hell these things are, perjury, making false statements, who knows, money laundering, securities fraud, wire fraud. They're sending to you a statement that you own the certificate and there is nothing backing up your name. So instead of going after the crooks, let's attack E-Trade, Merrill Lynch, all these characters, because they actually are all committing fraud. And that's the avenue or the direction that this has
Well,
to
it's
go.
interesting. When we met with the attorneys years ago here, they were concerned about going after brokerage firms on behalf of investors because of the arbitration clauses. It would seem like if the FBI goes after the brokerage firms, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Well, I can't tell you what law enforcement it is, but it's very serious.
All right, SEC, Secret Service, FBI, National Guard,
I don't
Navy,
think you have to go any.
Army.
I think you can flip a coin between the two you mentioned. The next day, we're going to have the Canadian Mounted Police go after them. I don't know who's left, but this is serious stuff. It's funny. They wanted me to come in, and I said no problem. I said the only thing I don't want is you telling everyone in the office that I'm the one that told them to buy the stock, and I did not. And he was laughing. He goes, "No, I did." So one enforcement agent, like we did, we tell our friends he told his friends. And now everyone in the agency is upside down and being defrauded. And I've always told you, and I've always said, enforcement, they're going to get you, and they have. And this even makes it better. They actually listen to my phone calls. And they thank me because I've educated them all on it. So I've told you many times that enforcement is on these calls. Well, I got confirmation from them themselves telling me they were on the calls. All right, so I'm sure they are listening. I don't think they enjoy that I'm making fun of them that they got stuck like we did, but they are listening, and they are upset, and they are down money over security fraud, which they all see and understand now. We've educated them all. They'll see it and they understand it. So these jerk-offs can keep playing, but I'm promising you that we will get them. All right? The SEC came out today with that comment. They were defending the hold on a second. They were defending the short selling new rules that the brokerage, all the hedge funds are trying to sue about, and saying we need transparency. Why? Because look what happened to GameStop. He referenced GameStop. No transparency, GameStop happens. That's what's going to happen to Fngr Motion, Gtii, many others. There's no transparency. They have no idea how big the fraud is. Susan Trimbath put up a statement the other day. Susan Trimbath on Twitter, for those of you who don't know.
Dr. Suzanne Trimbath.
Dr. Susan Trimbath, whatever. She put up a statement saying that there's $12 billion protecting $250 billion in IOUs. That tells you these guys are putting pennies up on the dollar and have the leverage of that much leverage. This is going to end poorly. If the stocks all go up, 250 billion could be 500 billion to $1 trillion on $12 million. That's all that's backing this whole thing. So there is no money in the system. These guys are leveraged 1,000 to 1. I mean, it's just crazy. And it's right there. She posted it on Twitter yesterday. And I took a photo of it. I sent it to enforcement and saying, you better move on it because everyone's going to lose everything in your households, the country, everything's going to get destroyed. So again, I'm just reading a text. I'm sorry. Again, William, I lost track if you want to just say something.
You were talking about Dr. Suzanne Trimbath and how
she posted that the SEC is telling everyone you need you need to have someone showing what's behind the scenes here, because look what happened to GameStop, AMC. The short sellers are screaming they don't want to show their hands, but the SEC is saying, hey, you have to show your hands because we have no choice, because look what happened. You're so disgusting. Look what happened to GameStop.
Right.
And there's hundreds or thousands of GameStops that are alive, including the 2 that we follow. Go ahead, William.
You're on your phone. I can tell you're doing something on your phone.
Well, people are texting me. You know, I just had an attorney text me asking me a question. So, listen, I'm putting together a criminal case against the brokerage community. Me, I'm a fucking retard trader that actually has to figure this out for enforcement because they know nothing about this stuff. Now that they're all stuck like we are, they want to know more. And
Well, that's actually a typical thing. I've experienced it myself. Most people, they focus on the issue after they make an investment.
Well, listen, again, you don't expect, like Fngr Motion yesterday was going to break out at 450. They sold 200,000 at the market. Pete from Philly put a wonderful chart out there. And they told Gary Gensler, fuck you. And
Good for him. Good for him.
He went straight down. You could just see the red bars, bar, but just keep selling it at the market, trying to knock it down. All right. It's criminal. This is like unbelievable. And I sent it to the agency yesterday. I took the photo of it. I says, here's your stock. Here's your investment being manipulated. Everyone can see it. Give me the gun and the badge and I'll end it. That's all you have to understand. I can't stop it. I'm trying my best. I can't stop this onslaught. It's like everyone's looking the other way. It's so criminal. I don't even know what to tell you anymore. You know, I follow, people call me about stocks all the time and I try to follow them. And, you know, my friend who works at a major brokerage firm told me about what he was hearing on that ALT, I think it was. Yeah, I think ALT. You know, I put it up to 550, the stock 750. I don't even know the high, but, you know, it's got a big short in the stock. It's, you know, grinding higher. I didn't buy it. I spoke about it. I told you what I knew about it. I don't have the money to buy all these stocks. You know, I follow my good friend in GDC. Okay, he paid $4.15 for it. The stock has bounced back yesterday, and you know, I expect it to make a big move next week. Where I don't know. He told me so. He told me he was going to sell stock between $8 and $10. I'm sitting here waiting. You know, it's like the old saying. You know, it's coming. So is Christmas. You know, I mean, come on.
That's George David Charlie.
Yes, George David Charlie. I know nothing about it. I'm just following someone that I really respect. All right. And then a couple of guys, the same vein of people started buying this PRTT. I don't have the money to buy it. And the stock has been grinding up. And today the company said they're doing a $10 million buyback of equities. That's a bold statement. Peter, Robert, Tom. I posted last week. I heard there was $1.4 million short. I know nothing about it. And I don't have any money to buy it. But that is a bold statement. $10 million to buy back. And they sell into it like it's no big deal. You know, unless the company's making a completely criminal statement, which I doubt, this stock is going to go high. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't even know what they do. But that's a tremendous statement. And it's some smart people I know buying it. So I'm just trying to bring it to your attention. Do your own homework and figure it out. That's all I know. I know as much as you do. I bought GDC. I'm down. I got told to buy ATL, went straight up. I was told to buy PRTT, went straight up. I don't own those. I own GTI, Fngr Motion, and GDC. That's it. I'm not Fidelity. I can only do certain things, and I have to wait it out. That's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm not just sitting waiting it out. I'm being proactive. I put a photo up. I had my whole document changed from Abu Dhabi to South Korea. We actually going to name the financial news show and the exchange the Gangan. Is that Gangan?
Oh, after that guy, that song that did 1 trillion hits.
I didn't know if it was insulting, but it's actually it's a good thing. So we put the name on there, showing him what we would like to do.
Gangan style, Gangan. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, whatever. I put up a photo, a rendering of the studio we designed. I was going to produce the show out of Palm Beach or Miami. I have a glass storefront and have the anchor reporting the news. I have 3 to 4 anchors working out of the studio, alternating. All my content people will be remote, and they bring them up on the big screens, and they could be all over the country, all over the world, and we could actually run this studio, as much as we want, and then we would pass it off to, to South Korea, and then to the Middle East, so we can cover the globe. All right, so that's the financial news show that we're working on, which is ready to go, by the way. I need to get the venture exchange to give us a license. So we're going to sit down with South Korea, put the proposal together for them, and I'll have it out over the weekend. It's not easy stuff. Trust me, this is not, I'm not the brightest guy. I keep telling you that. So I understand what I can do. And my daughter helped me out with the AI stuff. We put in a couple of pages of information, and it actually corrected it and made it better. I mean, it came out perfect, believe it or not. So again, with any trick I can, I don't have a million people working for me. I have 1 million consultants, people that are equity traders that give me information back when I'm not paying attention. Like, Pete from Philly is a guy just like the people I know. The people I know are not on Twitter, but Pete is. And he's reporting exactly what I see and feel, and all my friends see. All right. I've had people that worked at Night Securities in this firm and that Roush Pierce and this place and that place and in Merrill and Goldman and more. I had them all over the place. And they're all working, trading their own money now. They're not working for firms anymore. All right. So we have a lot of smart people around this. But putting documents together, it's not easy. So I had someone who took care of my document, changed it all to South Korea. We changed everything over. So that document is ready to go. And I'm showing them the business plan for the financial news show. And I want no money from them. Just give me the license to start a venture exchange. And I'll raise all the money in the world. That's all. Because you just go and look what a license of an exchange, what it's worth. And you can see how powerful it is. If I can create the exchange to get companies leaving from Milan or anywhere, China or US, and list them in South Korea, they won't be just in South Korea. It'll be global, because we will be able to report on everything that's going on there. We would give them. Mark Bazile said that CNBC or whatever Fox was bragging about how the market's making new highs. It's 7 stocks that are doing everything. Everybody else is just drowning. All right. So again, you can see the difference. We would cover all the names that never get coverage. And that's 99% of the stocks that are out there. No one sees CVM out there, Northwest Bio, or, Gtii or Fngr, whatever anybody's doing. They never get any report, or GNS or Mullen. It's like, just, they only talk about them in passing as they're dying because of the criminal activity. That's the only time you get anything on TV about your company. I'm sorry, people just keep asking me about finger motion, Gtii. Someone just sent me, I want to post a tweet for what I truly believe is the greater good of getting the community closer to a market-based resolution, but I think it may make some really people mad.
Call for him. Hi, doctors.
You want to post stuff? Do whatever you want. Listen, people, this is a fight. We're all fighting the same way. We're all trying to row the boat the same way. I don't know what else to say. If you got something to do, I don't give a shit what you do. Anything would help. We're trying to expose criminals, the 500 hedge funds that are criminals stealing all the millions of people that are getting robbed, their families. It's just unbelievable, the amount of people that are getting robbed. Even law enforcement's getting robbed. I couldn't stop laughing when he told me that. All right, so they don't move as fast as we do. I wish they did, but I've been attacking them. I have their contact, and I attack them and send them information all day long. I said, the SEC is telling you there's a crime here. The crooks don't want anybody to look at them. They're so powerful, they don't want anybody to look and see what they're doing, because they cannot get these returns. I don't care how good they are. You don't win all the time. You can't return $7 billion to your clients, make all that money and the profit. Are you kidding me? Remarkable. Do you have any questions? Or?
Not really. People are fascinated. Commenting.
Fascinated.
They're commenting on, well, one guy just read law enforcement got ripped off and now they're joining him.
That's the best thing I've ever heard. And I said it every day. I said, they're going to get you. They get the military, they get the doctors, Dr. Aziz, they get nurses, everyone. Just look at the faces of Mmtlp. They put them up there. What doesn't make a difference what race, religion, what anything about you, they get you. They don't care. They're stealing everybody's 2,000, 5,000, 50,000, whatever, 100, whatever it is, they take it. My friends happen to be down 10, $20 million. All right. Everyone's fighting and doing everything they can to help out. We have, I was told we have a class action lawyer that wants to go against the brokers. All right. They want to file suit for a big percentage of it. So we'll get some details on that shortly. All right. That came from a very powerful guy on our side. We need to, this is like so crazy what they do. It's just unbelievable. Relentless selling, sell. Just keep marking it down.
Do you think it's easier to either subpoena the blue sheets from the regulatory bodies or from a brokerage or ask for time and
Just go
sales?
after the brokerage firm. Forget the blue sheets.
Yeah.
Go after the brokerage firm. Accuse them of fraud. Get it from the top enforcement agencies in the country. Let them deal with it because they are all committing fraud and have been. If GTI shareholders don't have a dividend, they committed fraud by sending you a statement that you do have it, right?
Right.
It's pretty easy.
Right.
So with that information, why wouldn't Fngr Motion start moving a little quicker to get this done, to get a dividend on the table, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? So
Makes
I
a
think
lot.
we conveyed it that hopefully that they move on it because you want to be ahead of any kind of enforcement action like I'm talking about. You want to be ahead of it because if you do have a record date, you do have a snapshot of who owns what and who doesn't have anything. So that's important. So hopefully they move on it. Let's see how fast they move.
So there's some discussion here. I know it's not your focus, but there's rumors of a settlement actually in MMTLP within 90 days at $250 to $400 a share. I just throw that out. It's a rumor, but it's a credible. The guy that's putting it out there, it's credible.
Oh, listen, I'm a believer they're going to do exactly that. I don't know what the price will be. I think they'll start low, then move high, or they maybe just want to get rid of it. You know, I don't know who's behind it. It's funny, that guy Jim Chanos spoke about it. It wasn't me. How did anybody? There's one stock out of 10,000, and Jim Chanos says it's not me that I was short. Right?
It wasn't me.
That's like saying me that I was moving Amazon. I don't even follow Amazon. I don't even know what price it is. You know, I have no idea. I don't follow it. I can't afford it. What am I going to look at it for? So again, these guys are all dirty. They all know what's going on. They're prime brokers. They're brokers. They all talk. Like I said, yeah.
A guy that's been following a long time is said, I'm having fun this Christmas watching my investment in Gtii melt away. And there's a lot of question what's going on with Gtii. So and he's a good guy. I'm not trying to pick on him. It's just that was his comment.
Well, he's 100% correct. I can't stop it. What can I? Nothing's happened. It just keeps. If they keep manipulating it lower, and there's no support on buying it, that's just what happens. They They sell it to themselves at 42 cents. The guy buys it at 42. He turns around, sells it at 41. And then the 41 buyer turns around, sells it at 40. That's all they're doing. They're selling it back and forth. And in the middle of it, they get someone who panics, and then you just add to the fire. That's all they're trying to do. They do it in big board stocks. They're doing it here. In big board stocks, Fidelity steps in when a company goes undervalued, and they scoop it up. Fngr Motion should have a big institution that steps in because the company right now, it has a target of 5 before the last revenue. The last revenue went up 80%. So what's 80% above 5? It's another $4, right? So the target should be $9 to $10, not 5 anymore. It's going higher, and yet they keep trying to manipulate it lower. Yesterday was a classic example. Go look at Pete on Twitter. He showed the perfect bar chart of it going down. He actually put red lines on it, and he called it out as he sees it. It's perfect. And it was going from breaking out at 450. They knocked it down to where it's breaking down now, trying to break it down again. The same thing. It's the same problem every day.
Well, and we're in a seasonal weak point for prices next couple of weeks. So
listen, again, this is where you either believe it or don't believe it. If you don't believe it, then you have to make your decision on that. I'm a believer. Again, I can't give you enforcement's names, but if you were to subpoena me, I would definitely have to give them up, and I can show you who they are. So I have no problem with that. I wouldn't say that. So if anybody has any ideas, they want to play games, I have no problem giving up the people. I'm not making up the names. They're right here.
yeah. Not legal advice, who I actually agree with on this point. He is skeptical on the time frames that are indicated. Personally, if they're not going to get it done this year, why get it done in the first quarter next year? They got all year to do it from a hit to their books. So I don't think 90 days works, but I don't want to be negative. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
That's Mmtlp. Yeah.
Listen, it is what it is.
This guy asks, if Crappy Barra can write negative attacks, why can't we hire someone to write positive, truthful articles? Well, I mean, I think it's a good question, but
we want to have people listen. This is not a game where it's easier. People, is it easier to push a boulder up a hill or push it down a hill, right? So pushing it down a hill is creating a sell, creating an avalanche of selling. It's easier to do that than having people go into their wallets and buy a stock. If you like, I can go out and come up with a fake story, and put it all over the place and actually push a company off a cliff. If everybody wants to do that, I'm game. I don't have the money to short it, but we can do that. I could do that all day long if I like. I don't believe in it, but if we need to make money to survive, why not? If we can't beat them, let's join them. We can do stories on IBM, Microsoft. We'll go after the biggest ones. Costco, they're selling poisons. They poison people. You can make up any story. Right? Costco is going to come out. They killed 3 people with poison. The time they check it out, the stock will be down $40, right?
yeah.
You can do anything like that. Whatever, pick a stock. It's a difference. That's what these people do. They do that to make money. No one stops them. And obviously, you can see they do it from offshore. And you can sue them. And what happens then? Right?
You run out of money, and they keep grinding away.
They keep grinding away. The guy leaves Brazil. Now he's living in Dubai, having a party every night. Where we're eating cheese from Costco. This son of a bitch is out there eating at a fine restaurant in Dubai. There you go. So why would we stay on this side? Why don't we just all go to the dark side?
When do you think earnings come out for Fngr?
Someone told me the 12th the other day. I think I said it the other day, the 12th of January. I don't know how many trading days that is, but it can't be. It's not that long.
Well, I can't be that long. 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Listen, based on what I just told you with law enforcement, we sent a message they need to do something about a dividend to get on the books. Whatever it may be, you got to get on the books and get a record date, because if we're going to file a lawsuit with enforcement, it's going to be based on dividends, because the dividend gives you a snapshot of financial statements.
Gotcha.
If they can't, the brokerage firms, if they do not get the stock delivered, they are committing security fraud by putting on a statement. They're doing wire fraud. They're sending out statements, whatever it may be. If you attack the head of the snake and cut it off, which is the brokerage firms, if the brokerage firms would just settle the trades, okay, if they just settle the trades, naked short selling would not exist. It can't exist. You can sell all day, but they'll just keep buying you in. That's it. You'll keep losing money. You'll sell stock at 4 and they'll buy you back in at 6. Do it again at 4, they'll buy you back at 6. It won't last too long. Right now, there is no one in brokerage firms and clients that is buying people in that are not. We have over 450 million shares short GTII. Has anybody seen them cover them? Tell me.
I haven't.
I haven't.
I haven't, but there's people
Fngr
out there that say they cover every day. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen
Fngr
it.
Motion's 205 million shares. I don't see them covering.
No.
MULN is 5 billion shares. I don't see them covering. The stock goes down every day.
Mmtlp is 650 million.
Yeah, they stopped it, hiding it for a year, hiding it. And you're telling me they're covering? Whoever says that is just an ass. They're just making stuff.
Or they
up.
just can't believe that the systems they loved all and worked for.
Listen, stop listening to us and go buy any stock you like. It's perfect. Go enjoy yourself. Knock yourself out. It's safe. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. Call me back after you lose all your money. I'm telling you, take your money and run. That's what I tell you to do. Don't defend the crooked system, because that it's not that you can't defend it. It's the proof is all over the place. Just look what the SEC said today.
So this guy says,
my friend's son is at the Florida State. He graduated. He's graduating today, and he's just telling me all the football players that are passing by graduating. So that's what the text message is on.
ask him if they can contribute for your 50 grand.
He said the whole defense is graduating. We have no defensive players anymore. They're all graduated.
So what's
My
the
50
over under next year?
Oh God, I don't know what the team looks like. I can't determine it yet. Anyway, any other questions? Because
Can you say accumulate? This guy's saying somebody is accumulating GDC. So
well, you have to. You don't have to. You could basically saw it yesterday. They took it up the day before to 295, right? And they walk away a little bit. I don't even know where it is. Where is it? But I have no idea.
This listener is pointing out that Christmas is coming. She's going to be baking for her nieces and nephews.
That is what this is about. Please don't let this get you down during the holidays. I try not to let it get me down. It does. It bothers me. But again, the one thing I wish I had 6 people around the table that can help write documents and stuff like this. But, you know, I reached out to Richard, not legal advice, but he's not a criminal attorney. These are criminal complaints. So
he just happened to write that he supports you in your view that Ham is not the brightest guy.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. I want to make sure you guys know that. I definitely just understand this. Nothing else in the world. I can't fix anything. I'm awful. I can't cook. I'm just terrible. I sit down. I watch TV. I just change the channel all day. I'm annoying. I have no attention span. I'm like a 5-year-old. But I'm actually very good at pickleball, so that's that. I'm good at.
John points out that GTII is getting close to 40 cents. I don't know. Let me look.
It was 42 cents before.
GDC is $3. 3 smackers for GDC.
Beautiful. I'm only down 80 cents now, or whatever it is, 40, 50
And he's
cents.
wrong. John Waddell, I guess it depends on what you mean by close. It's 42 by 4, almost 43 right now, which is, it's down a little bit today.
Listen, if you say one thing to me, I never pray for money. I only pray for health. That's the most important thing for me. If I see an animal on the road, I'll save it. If I see a person that's a scumbag, I'm running them over. I don't give a shit about them, especially Lynn Partners. I'll be the first guy to back up over them. Anyway, but I never pray. I wish Fngr Motion would just explode, because then we could use that profit to run over these bastards in GTI, because I have so many deep pocket people that want to do the same thing. So that's all I want for Christmas. That, my 2 front teeth. That's it.
Well, you could use a toupee.
I have to tell everybody a crazy story. When my dad was alive, we went to Atlantic City with a bunch of people, and a good friend of mine got a toupee. This is 20 years ago, and we're at the dice table with 15 people, and my dad yells across the table, "Freddie, your toupee looks great." He didn't want anybody to know. And my friend was so nice. He goes, "Thank you very much. I appreciate it." And I saw my friend the other day, and he spent $45,000 for a toupee.
Oh,
And he doesn't have the money anymore. He goes, "I wish I had that money I spent on that." I couldn't believe it when he's told me that. So, that just, the guy, it just destroyed this poor guy. They didn't have hair, and he spent his money. He just blew his money on trying to make himself look better. It's, it's just terrible that this guy feels that way, but, it happens. That's, that's life.
that's what Don Rickles said to Tony Randall, or the other one in The Odd Couple. He said to him, Jack Klugman, he said, "Hey, Jack, your hair looks great. Nobody can tell." It's just mean. It's just mean.
So again, I'm trying to give you everything I have. I can't give you the name of the enforcement agency, but
Is it a secret service?
I can't say. I can't. Believe me, I would love to tell you, but I don't want them to be mad at me. I think when you see the criminal charges, just remember where it came from. An idiot.
I think both. I stand to be wrong, but I think both the FBI and the Secret Service are under the Treasury. No, the Secret Service is under the Treasury, and the FBI, I don't know. It's it's whatever RFK was in charge of. I can't remember. Oh, the Attorney General's office.
Well, I in both agencies, I suggested before you file a lawsuit, criminal charges, that you hold a press conference and just say, if you're counterfeiting the U.S. equity markets using the loophole of naked short selling, you will be treated like a counterfeited, and when caught, you will face jail time like a counterfeiter. You will do a mandatory of 5 to 10 years, and when we catch you, and we will, that's what you're facing. And that's all they have to say. Thank you very much.
This is a question for you. Do you think there'll be trading, in other words, a market-based settlement for MMTLP trading, or is it just going to be a settlement scenario or price?
It's going to be a gray market.
Yeah.
If they allow it to trade, and they say, "Okay, everybody, it's going to trade on Monday starting at 10 o'clock."
This guy's still. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I would be telling everyone I know, if it opens at Monday at 10 o'clock below $5, grab all you can. That's what I'd be doing.
This guy's upset that his GTI dividend is not tradable. It should have been the October 29th.
I just spoke to my friend who had 2 accounts at TD Bank. One is tradable, and the other one he was trading futures in is a different account. And in that account, they want to charge him all types of money to get the shares and this and that. It's completely, it's the same place, two accounts, and they have two different answers from on the same shares in both accounts.
Do you think GDC stock will go up? Obviously, what do you think it? What's your target?
Me, I don't know.
This guy bought it.
If I
He
can make
doesn't.
If I can make a few $1,000, then I can take it. I could buy some more Fngr and add to that fire. Then when Fngr goes, then I can go into GTI.
Well, you just said your contact or whatever you want to call it suggested that he's getting out at $7.50 or $8. That's
He's
one.
saying anywhere between 8 and 10. That's what he's doing.
Oh, 8 and 10. Sorry, 8 and 10.
That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm a piker compared to him, so he can sit there and go on vacation and not look at it. And like you, I'm a nervous Nelly looking at it all day, right?
I don't understand this question, but I'll ask it. Are there any indications of current price action in GTII?
Is there any indication? No, it's just manipulation. I post about it every month. I put it up there pre-market. They were moving it down. Do you realize that no one can trade GTI pre-market but the criminals?
Yeah.
So when you see a pre-market movement in the stock, no one can do it but the criminals, the market makers. That's it.
Yeah.
So they start pre-market. I mean, listen, it's a head game, man. I keep trying to tell you that. That's what it's all about.
This gentleman wants to know, I've never heard his name before, so it's possible he just popped up, but he said, can they naked short a stock to zero? I mean, look at HPIL or VNUE. It's not going to happen here, though. At least not.
The difference is those companies had debentures on them. It's different if you have a debenture. You got to be insane to be shorting a stock, piling. Right now, these guys are in desperation. We don't think so. You don't think so. But I'm telling you, what I see is a sign of desperation because these guys know they're going to get caught. They need to get people to come out of 400 million shares of stock. Fngr Motion needs 200 million shares to come out for sale, and there's nothing there's no volume at all that can dictate that. It's zero. So it's a race. We already put in 4 years already, right? We survived, and now you have law enforcement at the highest level coming in to help us, not the SEC. All right. Everyone says they're useless. All right, they do civil complaints. Hold on a second. Hey, kids, get away from the street. Stay on the sidewalk.
Except the one you don't like. He can go in the street.
You famous kid, get in the street. Come out here and play out here.
Just kidding.
Check the air pressure on my tire.
So Wickedem says that Dirty Mayo posted that Fngr is working on a special dividend.
It's pretty common knowledge that everyone has sent the message to them to work on it faster. And the reason we're telling them to work on it faster because that is the angle for the federal or criminal indictment against the brokerage firm. It's going to be based on fraudulent statements that are sent to you. And if you do a dividend and they don't have it, the record date gives the enforcement people something to actually go against. So if you could sit there and say, John Doe owns 1 million shares of stock, he deserves this many dividends. His name's he didn't get any. Why? Because there's no shares to match his name. And that they can see, and that will expose the whole street. Remember, when you do a dividend, you have a record date. The record date is a moment in time, a snapshot that cannot be changed.
This is an interesting question because I believe Benchmark introduced Fngr to the Lynn partners.
That is 100% true. Benchmark introduced them. I believe they're part of the crime. Everyone that I'm sure who has done a deal with Lynn is like a law firm. They can't go out there soliciting or they have people doing it for them. So they have a broker Benchmark, who actually works with them, they do it, and they will both earn a ton of money.
And the
They do
trading
it.
goes, probably the trading goes through Benchmark brokerage side. But anyway, the question is, why is it good that Benchmark put up a research report on Fngr at
I
5?
believe that it's part of the compensation when they take you as a client. They tell you, hey, we'll give you a research report. We'll have our analysts follow you and give you coverage, right?
Right.
Now, this is something that we've heard months ago, and I posted it. Lynn Partners attorneys called Fngr Motion up, their attorneys, and were crying and accusing the company of orchestrating a short squeeze. And Lynn Partners attorneys were quite upset about that.
Poor guys.
I don't know. I don't understand why, but it's pretty common knowledge that that's what happened.
GDC's over 3.
Don't jinx it. Look away from it, William. Let the rest of us make a few bucks. Look away. Don't give it the evil eye. Did I lose
What
you,
I
man?
heard is GDC, at the end of the day, the selection committee is not going to choose them.
You guys keep going back to that. You know that bothers me, right?
I know. You get all, you're so dismissive when people have issues. Sometimes I do, and you're like, I don't want to, but this one bothers you.
Oh, it's like you're stabbing me in the back. This was a 11-month bet, and I won 13-0, and I lost my money. Figured out.
All right.
Now
Well,
I got the state attorney general of Florida suing college football and ESPN because they obviously they all work together to try to leave teams out. So again, Florida State's going to win. Everyone's going to win, and I'm going to lose my money. No, I don't win.
well, and look, we don't know what Univest is doing with Fngr. I don't think a dividend, if they are planning some sort of corporate action,
Listen, the dividend
doesn't have anything to do.
The dividend is from my people. We all sent messages to the company, get this done. Think about 20 or 30 people reaching out to the company and some of their biggest investors, all right, that I gave them. Their biggest investors, I gave them all speaking up, telling them, demanding that they get a dividend on the table. And the reason they're doing the dividend is because of my contact with enforcement and because we can create a paper trail that will kill the brokers. Just like Gtii has that paper trail, we need to get other people to create that paper trail because that's what will kill them. That will kill Goldman, Morgan, all of them. They can't hide the fact that they don't have anything to back what they're stating in their statements. Once they send their statements out and it says you have your dividend, all we have to do is go look at my little circle that I put up on Twitter all the time. The DTC has 24 million shares of Fngr Motion. There has to be, that's all they can give out is 24 million dividends, right?
Right.
So if there's holders that don't have their dividends, the authorities can actually use that against the brokerage community. And that would
So,
be criminal charges.
Father Guido Sarducci, Lou from New York wants to ask you, would it be worth organizing a protest in DC for 2024?
Yes, but people, listen, the shorts, the crooks, the regulators know we can't band together. People just don't have the time, families, obligations, work. It's very hard. That's why when we started to unite, that's when you get the most flack, when you start to unite, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I agree we should, but there's no way we can. I've tried it. You tried it, William, with what's his name down in DC. You had all the Mmtlp people. You had about 60 people there.
It might have been more. It was 2 days. It was pretty
Right,
good.
so 60 people, 70 people. But those 70 people have done so good, so much good.
Oh, it's amazing.
with the-
And
with the
by the way,
government
Jeremy
and the
Frommer
senators.
paid, he funded a lot of it just for, not for nothing.
Everyone is trying, and look how hard it is. I don't understand how the government allows it. This is your U.S. government. Every time I see a little kid, the father comes home from the military and they're hysterical crying, I watch the videos and it's heartbreaking. And Wall Street steals the dad's money. He's coming home working. He's in the military, gone for 2 years, comes home to see his family, and everything he done gets undone by Wall Street because they take his
So
money.
this guy's saying Fingers should do a share buyback. The problem is that reduces their capital. That puts them in more financial dependency on the criminals. So no,
Yes,
it's
yeah,
not a great idea. Not at this time. If their revenues were burgeoning, yeah, but not now.
Yeah.
This guy's saying, doesn't a Fngr special dividend do the same situation as GTII? Nobody knows.
We want it to happen. Listen, people, GTII special dividend, the warrant, most of you guys weren't here. We gave it out when the stock was 60 cents.
Yeah.
The warrant was exercisable at $2.75. And William, what happened to the stock?
The stock went to 8.97, and it stayed up there. Fidelity was charging 1,000% to borrow stock. The brokerage firms were slow walking the shares, and then we sold it. People sold.
But the special dividend worked. Am I correct?
I think so. Yeah.
So that's the type of dividend we want to create for Fngr Motion. But we need to get it on the tape. GTI's latest dividend is available, and all the people that are posting that they're having a tough time with, I've been taking those emails and saving them. I'm getting them to the attorneys because this will be evidence down the road for the regular enforcement people, real enforcement people, to use against the brokerage community because everybody's right and answering what's going on. So Fngr Motion needs to create that same fire drill because the fire drill exposes the brokerage firms, E-Trade, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all of them.
This gentleman.
Now we want to get the people in the back office who are not doing their job and charge them criminally. Trust me, management will not sit here of a brokerage firm and let their people get arrested in the back offices, or they won't go to jail for Goldman Sachs. Trust me, that ain't gonna happen. They're all gonna stop and do their jobs. That's what's gonna happen. They do their jobs, naked shorting ends, period. We don't need the SEC. We just need the brokerage firms to settle their trades. That's it.
This gentleman's pointing out that Wells Fargo will not allow you to buy GTII right now. 6 months. I don't know if it's true, but that's a sign that this special dividend is working, in my opinion.
It is. They're all working. All right. But just like they did with GameStop and AMC, they stop people from buying it. They're doing the same type of tricks. Why are they doing it? It's not because they don't have they have a problem. That's why.
This guy worked with he was on active duty. He says worked with guys from the FBI, part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and some people from the CIA. He said blink twice if it's one of those. He's kidding you. He can't see you're blinking.
It's not the CIA. How's that?
There are no rules, bottom line. Yeah, it feels that way, but there are
Just
rules.
think about it. All these guys, enforcement, you go out there, you give up your families, your time, and you go out there and risk your life. You have to be a buffoon. And I'll be the first guy to tell anybody, enforcement, military, you have to be a jackass to go give up your life for this country where they don't protect your pension and your family. They could care less if you get thrown in the street. You're out of your mind.
This
And I'm not
guy,
even going- I'm not even going political on you. Forget political stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm just talking about the stock market.
Steve Mertz is a pretty knowledgeable guy. He just said that MULN postponed their shareholder meeting today because they didn't have the votes for the reverse split. Now it'll be December 18th. It's intriguing. What do? Do they go to the criminal shorts to get the votes? Because share governance
Yes, go
is
back
all
and-
screwed
you
up.
need to go. I don't want to drag everybody down the rabbit holes,
Yeah.
but these guys have ways of getting the votes and voting again. They control the voting systems in the stock market. It's very dangerous what's going on. They have all the tricks. They have the best lawyers. They know the best tricks. They know the people in the back offices, and they know how to make things happen.
This guy's saying they're never going to buy back anything they sold short, and we'll all take it in the shorts. Well,
So who's that guy? Whatever his name
Jay
is.
Roach.
Say, Jay, do me a favor. Reach out on Twitter. I want to use your name, and I'm going to start bashing stocks and tell everybody you told me to do it, and you say they're not doing anything, so we want to make money. So I'll just say that you're our leader, and Jay says that Costco just poisoned people, and people are dying, and they'll knock on your door, Jay, and then you can say, whoa, okay, no one's doing anything. All right, Jay. I love the big mouth. Yeah, Jay.
Ronald is saying that Merrick Garland plays pickleball with Joe Biden. 10 tweets a day about it.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine? Joe probably doesn't know which net to hit it over.
Well, Dad.
The Big Al, Alabama says 100 banks sent suspicious activity on the guy's accounts. I see. That's on Biden. Sorry, never mind. We don't have to go politics.
Yeah, again, listen, the Secret Service told me they have analysts in Washington, D.C. that can track all the money movement in the world. Okay, so again,
except the criminal shorts.
they didn't know about naked short selling. I've educated them on it. They had no idea, never heard of it.
Wow. FINRA barred 16 registered reps from the industry, including several for failing.
For questioning FINRA's stance on naked short selling.
Yeah.
What they kick them out for.
For failing to cooperate with FINRA during an investigation.
Those are brokers that are taking orders like the guy from Morgan Stanley. Because otherwise, there's no reason not to cooperate, which tells you that they are investigating what's going on here. Because the orders got to go through brokers. Remember that, right?
Yeah. Look, this, Jay, you don't, anyway, I don't want to get into it, but you don't have to hold on to GTII. You can sell GTII, buy GDC, buy Fngr, sell it, take a tax loss, make a profit, and come back later and buy GTII. You do not have to watch it melt away. Anyway.
Listen, I can't stop the fraud. We've done everything possible, but we're not stopping. If we were stopping, I would tell you to quit. I would walk away, but I'm not walking away.
Well, this positive, maybe if you hold on to GTII or Fngr, you could gain enough to change your life. I don't know. We don't know, but that's the hope.
Oh, I do know that if we break the shorts, it'll change your life. That's a fact. You can mark that down. I do know. I'm not backing down from that and never will. I've been saying it for 4 years.
So Jay doesn't want to sell his GTII here because he'll lose 30,000. Okay. So don't.
Nothing I can do to make him feel better right now.
You could, if you're down 30,000, you could sell it now. You could take 12 grand against your gains in taxes. You could buy, for example, GDC. GDC, it's not even a stock I follow. It goes to 8. You make your money back, and then you come back. You can do all those things. But Jay, we're all big boys and girls. The stock is down. There's fraud. I lost money. I'm down. You don't want to sell. You don't want to sell. You don't have to whine about it to everyone here. We're all in the same boat. No one wants to hear whining.
You call the FBI, call the Secret Service, and tell them what you see and what's going on. Or if you want to call the SEC and a whistleblower, please call them up. I encourage it. And let them know.
Here's a good question. Do you think Fngr should give a cash dividend instead of stock dividend?
No, because what do they do if you give a cash dividend?
They just pay out the cash.
You got it. They sell more shares. You're getting good, William. You're good at this now.
Busy pointed out the other day in some context that, and it's not so much that the buying is in the dark pools and who do you care where they buy. It's that they put the buys in the dark pools so you don't see the upticks. Is that possible?
Basically, right. If the buy orders go to the marketplace, you'll be taking out people that want to sell or a short that's there. So what they do is they never let them go to the market, so we never really balance it out. There's no buy orders to take out any sellers. They just keep flooding. Every buy order is meant with a short. That's what's going on.
All right, so just to correct myself, Jay's not whining. He's just stating facts. Thank you, Jay. None of us realized that GTII is down from its highs. None of us realized it, but thanks for pointing it out.
Jay, when I get off the phone, I whine more than you. Trust me.
I know that's true. We whine. I whine. I'm a whiner.
We all do.
I'm a whiner. But I do believe that the people on here, it's the typical retail. I've done it in my life. Holding a stock that's going down does not have to be the way you do it. You can sell part of it, make a trade, and then come back. You can sell all of it, lock in a loss, and then make a trade and come back. You can do things.
William, you have to December 31st to make a
No, December 29th. I have it here on the chart. So you've got, if you ignore today, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full days and 2 half days where you could take a tax loss. And then in the middle of January, maybe you make a profit in something else, or you just leave your money in cash. In the middle of January, you buy it back. Maybe you buy more, maybe you buy less, but at least you've established a tax loss that saves you money. But anyway.
William, if I did that, the minute I sold it, the stock would go.
I know.
$42.
That's me. As soon as I sell it, it'll be $150. Yeah, that's
right. That's exactly
what's that's the downside. Plus, you turn your long-term capital gain situation into short-term. So it's not a panacea, but I don't know. I have been doing this so long, I can't believe it. But when I first started trading, I would get upset. Oh, I'm down. I can't believe this. And it's like, who wants to hear it? Do another trade. Move on. I don't know. I'm not picking on you per se, Jay. It's just, we all know the stock's down. We do. I know it painfully.
Well, yes. All we're trying to do on this call is tell you what I'm hearing. And that's why I'm here. I can't advise you to take tax losses and do this because I know if I did it, it would go straight up.
I know. That's a good point. As soon as you act, it's a good point. And so, Jay, you might be right. You shouldn't sell because that happens more than you think. As soon as you give up, if you're knowledgeable of the situation, boom, it's up. It's amazing. Anyway,
I can't advise you on that. I'm here to advise you and tell you that law enforcement is in the same boat we are. They're in Mmtlp and they're in finger motion. That is a fact. And it's not one. I'm sure it's 1 to 20, probably more than that. Just like we do, we tell our friends they did the same thing. And it's not, they were just trying to make a living, trying to increase their revenue for their families, whatever, reading about the stock market, and they got caught in MMTLP, stopped trading. Then they bought Fngr Motion. I guess I don't know where they purchased it, but again, just like we do, they tell their friends, and their friends happen to be enforcement agents also. So again, it's gotten viral in law enforcement, and law enforcement's pissed off now, and they all understand it. They listen to these calls. The guy told me they listen to the calls, that we've educated them all on it. They all get it. What they don't understand, and neither do I, is the criminal. What is the proper way to file a criminal complaint against the broker? Who gets who? Shorts, brokers, who is it? It's obviously the brokers are allowing this to continue, because if they settle the trades, it couldn't continue. No matter what the rule or the loophole is, if the brokerage firms just settled their trades, did their job, this would not exist.
Well, I don't understand. I don't, you can understand it in the longer term, but in day trading, in instantaneous trading, how is it legal for a firm to sell stock they haven't located, even if they're buying it back later? They're breaking the law. They're breaking the rules. But that's one place I would start.
That is the day trading firms. Day trading firms have nowhere to borrow shares from. Nobody is lending these day trading firms that place like Timothy Work. All these day trading firms that give you leverage, they have no way of borrowing shares. I have a friend that knows all about that business, and he says no one gives those people anything. Fidelity, all the people that own all the stocks, Vanguard, they're not lending stocks out to these criminals. They're not helping them. So they have no shares to borrow. So if the SEC wanted to look at anything, the day trading firms are all operating as criminal activities. They all do criminal activity. That's where it starts.
I didn't know this company was going to do this, but the question is, when is any update on Fngr going to the Korean Stock Exchange?
I never said Fngr.
I know you
go to
didn't.
Korean Stock Exchange. The one I would want to do is Gtii. And that's, to me,
that's going to be a process. All right. Mohammed wants to know, if E-Trade has not released my shares, what do I do? That's GTII.
Just get it in writing, whatever you can. Be polite. Just get it in writing, and we will circle back, and we will ask for it soon. Remember, that's the evidence that they don't have it. And on your statement, it says that you do have it, yet they won't release it. So that tells you they don't have it.
Not legal advice says I referenced his birth date. I don't remember referencing his birth date. That must be a dry sense of humor.
Yes, it is. It's got to be something. What are the holidays? When is the holiday? What is it? December 31st?
Oh, the 29th. December 29th, I said. That's the and last trading day of the year, December 29th. That's his birthday. So now we know we'll have to wish him happy birthday.
I posted everyone the Rodney Dangerfield clip from Johnny Carson on Twitter. It is so classic. You need to just watch it if you haven't. It's a minute, and it'll put a smile on your face. It did to me, and a lot of people got back to me, and it made them happy. But again, take a look at it, and it's pretty funny.
I don't understand what XO is, but Fisherman says Florida State can be the XO championship. It happened to Auburn when Texas won.
Yes,
but it won't help your bet, though.
Right back to the bet. That is true.
Well, this guy, Jay, is saying he's never going to buy anything else in the corrupt system. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Correct. Thank you. You learned. I'm glad you learned. Please tell 5 people, 10 people, stay away. I beg you. If you don't have the money to waste, or you don't want to stay away. If you don't know how to do it, it's too difficult. They'll rob you. It ruins your life. And look at we're having a call at Friday at 2:30 in the afternoon on a beautiful day in New York, and talking about criminals. But we can't stop them, and everybody knows about them. We even know who they are. That's the sick part.
This guy was hoping GDC would go to 20. Well, it could. I don't know anything about it.
The way I would do is sell half and let the half go. Maybe you get 20.
Not legal advice says the Justice Department can go after aiding and abetting money laundering with the brokerage firms.
Yes, that's a good point. And Richard, if you get a chance, could you just expand on that? Because I understand the words, but I don't go too deep into it. Once you go past the first words, if they look at me and say, well, I'm going to be going, oh, isn't that good enough?
And he also said conspiracy to commit securities fraud.
Yes, so these are the type of things that we need to focus on. They do have security attorneys, and I just don't want to, I want them to point them in our direction the way we want them to go. And believe me, they're pissed off, which is great.
So would you rather play pickleball indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Aiding and abetting securities fraud. I like this one because I've noticed it with people that wire fraud in billing to clients. That could do it.
No, that's part of it. Everything that Bernie Madoff was charged with is the things that I'm targeting.
Oh, God.
Life imprisonment. That's what we want to make sure that the broker dealers that are not doing their jobs will go to jail for life because they are the gatekeepers to our money and to our equity markets.
So not legal advice is going to give you an expanded version of whatever he sent you.
Listen, as we talk about it, I jotted down a bunch of things already. I got about 15 angles on this thing. I'm just trying. Listen, I didn't go to school as an attorney, so I'm learning this on the fly. I know all the big buzzwords.
But you're no dummy.
I am a dummy, but I just don't know what the big words mean. That's the problem.
You're no dummy.
You're aiding and abetting. Okay, that's great. How? I don't know.
Aiding and abetting a dummy.
Yeah. That's what they're going to look at me and say, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's what I don't want them to say.
Well,
they may come back and say, hey, we don't need you, man. We got it done. Don't worry about it.
Just don't say anything.
They ask a lot of questions. How about the surprise when I get the call that pops up on your phone? New York FBI, right? Or Secret Service. How do you think it feels when you get those phone calls?
Well, not particularly
hey, how
good.
you doing today? That's what I say. How you doing today? Are you coming to get me? Should I change my underwear? What do you want me to do?
Oh gosh. All right. Well, it's 4. No, it's not 4 o'clock. 3:45. I think you've done a good job.
I have not done a good job. We're all down on things. Jay's upset. Everyone's unhappy.
You actually, I blocked him, but you had one guy say that you and I are working for the shorts.
Yes, we are. That's what I'm doing. If I was a promoter and pumping it up, I'm the worst in the world. They just keep going down. I can't do it again. It's not to go up.
Oh, it's frustrating. The whole thing is frustrating because
Listen, it's not frustrating. Listen.
Well, what frustrates me is the rules are in place. If Gary Gensler, Fngr, NASDAQ, OTC markets, whomever, if they just gave a DAME, a darn, they just enforce the rules.
Just look what Gary Gensler said today. It's been posted all over the place. He quoted and used GameStop as an example why we need to have more exposed transparency against short selling. He said, "Look what happened with GameStop because we weren't clear what was going on." He said that. That tells you point blank that there's too many shorts and someone's doing criminal activity. That's why they need it. That's all. And it's right there.
Were you?
He's admitting that there's a fraud. He understands it. They all got it.
Were you told to buy CVM and LWLG?
Never heard of LWLG.
That's not according to a good friend of yours.
Oh God, he's still around? I thought he died. Yes, he told me it was like 10 cents about the $21. Yes, he did.
Oh,
He's
wow.
also been a CBM guy for a long time. I know many people at CBM. I don't own it. I know the CEO for 20 years. He's on a mission, but he raises money and he just doesn't care. He just keeps, he knows the shorts are hurting him. But
Well, if you pay his salary, pay his health care, and his retirement plan, what the hell else?
That's what he does. He just keeps going along.
And you got expense money for first class tickets and steaks at Sparks.
Sparks. No one eats at Sparks. Who eats there?
Well, not for long. They walk out and it's over.
You get a table in the shooting section.
So Skinny Whale purchased GTII today. Good.
Listen, just remember what you're buying. We're fighting criminals. If you believe we can beat them, then I agree with you. If you don't think we can beat them, please don't come and get involved. I do believe we're going to get them.
Well, the fraud is hard to fight, and so it's there, and it's relentless.
That's the that's the whole thing. The basis of the fight is if you think we can beat security fraud, you're going to change your life, and I believe we are. So that's what I believe, and I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I told you I'm speaking to the two top law enforcement agencies in the United States, not in Mexico, of the United States. And they're both on it. Now, I can't make them move faster, but they're here. That I can promise you.
And the thing with GTII and Fngr, and a couple of other stocks out there, the trail is very easy to follow. It's harder to do it in GME and AMC and all of that.
Yeah, the paper trail is we're making the paper trail worse for them with these dividends. You understand that, right, William?
Yes, I know.
That's the game plan. We want to make this 100 times worse for them, and that's what's going on.
Would you rather be long or short right now?
There's no way I'd be short.
That's this guy's point.
The risk reward is so crazy to be short. If you shorted a stock at 42 cents, are you out of your bird? The only people that are selling stock at 42 cents are the shorts because they shorted it at $1 and they're just pressing their bet, right?
Right.
That's what they're doing. That's what's going on there. Because no one else would do it. It's like buying a stock on the upside. You buy a stock at 5, it's 8. You say, man, I'm going to add to it because I think it's going to be a long term. It's going to keep going, And that's what they do. And that's what people do.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything else?
No. Gert has kept the company alive. I don't know who Gert is.
Yes, on shareholders' blood.
Gear.
On shareholders' blood, he's kept the company alive. That is correct.
Casinos are better regulated than Wall Street. Well, they're both regulated. It's just enforcement. It's better enforcement
over there. I met a shareholder the other day. His friend won $10 million playing baccarat. Then he got banned from every casino.
Webull started. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Webull started my transfer for MMTLP today. Made me feel like my loss was more real. I won't waste Ham's time on that, but I've spent a lot of time trying to explain to everybody that NextBridge is valuable. So yes, it's a year wait, but your transfer was going to be into private shares. That's just a fact, Jack. What you lost is 2 days trading. That's not coming back, but it's valuable. You're not going to lose money. You're not going to lose it. Let me put it this way. It's going to be really, really hard to lose money on MMTLP. If Wall Street decides to DK the trade or just not do anything, Wall Street's out of business. Anyway.
Well, it's an oil and gas company, right?
It is, and it's got
It has assets.
it's got apparently the median level is 5.7 billion barrels of oil. Even if you give that a small percentage of recovery, I mean you're it's many multiples of what you paid for it. I paid $8 like an idiot. $7.90 or something. Anyway, don't worry, Mama Duck. It's valuable. It's just you have to wait.
As I was saying, William, I missed that bullet. I didn't get involved. So
No, I know you were smart, but
oh yeah,
what's good about it?
People told me to buy it at $2.
I was told to buy it by a friend of mine at 78 cents. But the one thing good about it is it's not trading. You know, I personally think it's worth hundreds of dollars a share right now. Imagine if it were trading, it'd be 0.000001. So the criminals are trapped in MMTLP too.
that was the favorite thing. I said the longs are trapped, but you trap the crooks.
Right. So I don't know. My view is don't torture yourself telling you've lost money in MMTLP because it's not true. It's not true. The only way you'll lose money is if Wall Street as a whole, that's 104 broker dealers, decide we're going to put our whole franchise at risk and we're not going to pay off. I suppose there's a...
Listen, Chanos quit for a reason. This guy's got no life. He is a short seller. All right. He's a big mouth short seller. For him to quit and say he's not tied to MMTLP, he's 100% tied to MMTLP. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. That guy is 100% tied.
And I agree with Big Al, Alabama, Mama Duck. You are doing the right thing. Don't worry. You're doing the right thing. Moving your shares, you're doing the right thing. All right, this guy's pointing out they're gunning for $4 on Fngr. It's triple witching. Mike, let me just look where it's trading. 404. My guess they close it at 401, so that over the weekend the options are exercised automatically. Broker dealers sell you out on Monday. It's
so
just a
you're
trick.
telling me that if it closes at 401, they can do that exercise trick, right?
They did it to me while I was.
So what I'll do is I'm going to make someone go sell it. Make sure if they're that low, we'll sell it at the market at 4, and this way they won't be able to do it, right?
Well, that's true. That's true. The other thing I learned is if it closes at 401 or 402, call your broker and say, I do not want you to exercise.
I don't think anybody has any options. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's not as much enthusiasm this time.
Right.
Yeah, Mama Duck, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right, Mama Duck.
All right.
The hype was a lot in terms of having a short squeeze, but it just didn't happen.
If the SEC thought we were doing anything wrong, okay, they would have shut this down a long time ago when we put the trucks out in front of them, right?
Right.
They can't do anything because you know what? It leads to discovery. Why are you yelling at these people? Let's see the fails of they can't show their cards. The SEC knows this is a problem.
Yeah,
they know it, and they can't do. They need to either stop it all. We've exposed the whole system. It doesn't make us rich yet, but that's what's happened here.
Hey, this is a good question. And I think, Skinny Whale, it depends on how the trades were marked. If it's a free credit balance, I actually think the brokerage firms are happy with it. But anyway, here's the question. The short sellers are trapped in MMTLP. Do they have to continue to pay interest and monthly vigorous to the prime brokers on the short positions now during this halt? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
It's a good question. I don't know.
Because it's technically not trading. I don't know the question. I don't know the answer. It's a good question. It's pretty smart.
Well, they have everybody's money.
They
Right.
do. Yeah, they have everybody's money.
Everybody's money's tied up with a crook somewhere, right?
Oh, God, it's just unbelievable. So the stock's 401, 4 by 401 with 2.5 minutes to go.
What's the volume on the day?
367,300, well, 379. Last trade 4, 399 by 4. 4,800 by 3,700. 382,000. Last trade 398. 398
So now
by 4.
You're going to see a lot of prints right now because they're watching trades. They always do it at the low.
399. 390,000 shares. 399 again. 399. 398. 5. 398. What's all the urgency in a obscure stock? All the urgency to trade just before the close.
Hurry up.
They had all day to trade it. They need to sell now at 397.5. They had all day to trade it at 420.
This is all fake trading now.
It's all fake.
Back and forth, fast, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
397.99. Thank God I got that extra 0.0001. When are the regulatory, when's Congress going to say stop this? You know why they don't? Because of the campaign contributions. 3.9785 plus the people in Congress are all lawyers. They don't understand this. 3.975. They're all lawyers and AOC. 3.98. 3.9799. Thank God I got it cheaper. 3.979. 1 minute, less than a minute to go. 414,000 shares. 397 by 398. They're not, do you think they'll close it under 4? I doubt it.
William, I can't listen to this. I'm sorry.
All right.
You're just wasting you're just annoying me by saying this stuff. It's just, I know what they're doing. And, I can't stop it. Obviously, I'm on a call with you guys. Everybody's looking at it. But at the end of the day, the company has fundamentals to stand on. And you know what? Let's get this company to do the dividend, to get the enforcement people to have
They closed it at 402, it looks like.
we get well, you can see how many shares did they cost. It was 389 with the 4. What's the volume now? 4.
The volume now, wow, 1,000,005. It says 1,000,005.
Yeah.
That's what it says. I mean,
Wait. You're telling me this volume went from 400,000 to 1 million?
Yeah, 1,050,000. Yeah, that's what it says. 1 million is the volume. That's what it's saying.
So they just unwound an option position of 600,000 shares and crossed it in this little time.
I guess. You know what it means. I don't. I mean, I think I do.
I'm in the car. I'm not looking at it, so I can't tell you what happened.
It's the volume on the day is 1,050,000.
Wow. All right, I got to get over.
And there, Frank Gonzalez agrees with me. He said it was 400,000 shares. Now it's 1,000,005.
Are you sure you guys not hitting the source?
Mark Maddox says a trade for 622,000 shares went across at 4 o'clock exactly. But that's not market manipulation, by the way. That's not market. If the SEC's watching, don't look into it. Don't look into it. These are good clients. No need. I mean, no need to look. They're good people.
That is a prearranged trade. There you go.
I mean, if it broke a rule, it was inadvertent. SEC, don't look into it.
All they did on the 600,000 was roll and drag out more settlement time. Anyway, listen, everyone, I had enough. Thank you very much, William.
It was one guy saying it was 400,000 in 5 trades 1 second after the 4 o'clock. So I don't know. And they did 375,000 at once. Anyway, you can look at it later.
When I get home.
All right, bye. Thank you. All right.
Call ended.
How can I improve on that? I know, Solomon. It's unbelievable. My little service, which is E-Trade, it doesn't go into the detail you guys have. But that's just amazing. And I'm sure it's not market manipulation. The SEC doesn't have to look into 600,000 shares traded all on the close. Oh, thank you. Post it, Social Watch only. Awesome. Awesome. But, you know, the SEC shouldn't look into it. Hey, these are good accounts. They have systems in place. And you know, if there was selling, it was offset, don't worry about it. Let's go after the waitresses who earned $600 in their Venmo. Let's go after them. Let's see. They should know how much it costs to get out. They had our money for a year. Well, Dave Art, the thing is, if I were you, you don't have to agree with me, but this stock, Nextbridge Hydrocarbons, is worth more than what you paid for it. So if you want to just get your money back, I mean, that's, everybody has different views, but this is worth a heck of a lot more. Yesterday, the gentleman, I'm trying to remember his exact handle. He was great. Chief, no, it wasn't Chief. It was, anyway, he said they've drilled and found what he called 7 benches. And a bench is basically a zone, basically. But a bench is also a way of describing the trap that holds the hydrocarbons. And he said that the oil in place, the median estimate is 5.7 billion barrels. I don't know. I don't know. Just to do the most conservative calculation, let's just say only 10% of that is producible, which I think is, you know, in other words, is proven commercial. I think that's totally wrong, but I'll do it just to so 5.7 billion. You already know the answer because you're quicker with arithmetic than I am. So if we just assume 10% of that, that's only 570 million barrels. That's not very much, but that would be proven. So let's use $30 because that's what Exxon paid for Pioneer. That's $17 billion. You divide it by 165 million shares. And I tell you, I think I'm being so negative, so cautious. That's $103 a share, Dave R. That Nextbridge is worth. That, I think, is the low end. I've given you calculations where I think you can argue, and I do, that the settlement should be over $1,000 a share. But Dave R., that's just my point. We're all so attuned to, oh my God, I've lost my money. I've lost my money. I've lost my money. They stole from me. They stole from me. Oh my God, it's bad. Why did I? You're just torturing yourselves. And I torture myself too. I think about it. I could use that money. But the fact is, the process is slowly churning. The legal process is slower than the examination. I don't want to get into politics, but it's slower than a snail. Legal processes but they move forward. They go forward. But on the brokerage accounts, there's 104 broker dealers that want to just solve this. And you had a lot of lawyers, Dave R., and it's, and I know we didn't get our 2 days of seeing what the short squeeze might have been. And I think, everyone who joins in, and I'm not picking on Mama Duck at all, on the so-called hype of MMTLP, clearly there were a lot of people buying it under $1, under $2 for weeks, months. And then towards the end, there was an emotionalism, and I paid $7 and I'll get the exact price, but I think I paid $7.89 or $7.90 for my shares. So no question, there was a view that we were going to see a short squeeze on Friday the 9th and Monday the 12th. What verifies that, it looks like Jessica Hopper stopped trading. I'm sure she did it with the approval of that rather large Doomkoff that runs Fnr, Robert Cook, and I'm sure it was done after they checked with Goober Gary Gensler. So that the system knew there was going to be a squeeze. And so in that sense, absolutely, they took that away. But I don't know what to say about that. That was an opportunity where we could have made a heck of a lot of money, traded it, but it just didn't. They stole that. You're right. And that'll be duked out in courts and class actions, potentially. On the other hand, two benefits. If Nextbridge were publicly traded right now, they would, in my judgment, counterfeit 1 billion, 2 billion shares, and the stock would be under a penny or under 20 cents. And we'd be looking at it and we'd be going, oh my God, it's down. And then to raise money from McCabe, rather than putting money in at a fair value, he would be looking at, hey, your stock's trading at 5 cents. I mean, I know you're telling me it's worth $50 or $100, but it's trading at 5 cents. I'm glad to put in 10 million more, but I want a discount to 5 cents. That's the strategy of the criminal counterfeiting shorts. And really smart people can't see it because they're trained as lawyers. Prove it to me. Or they're investment bankers and they got straight A's at MIT or Harvard and MBA school or Wharton. And they're like, well, we can't consider that that's what's going on. These people are good people. They have an office on Madison Avenue. They took me to the Harvard Club for lunch. And my husband golfs with their son at whatever screwball golf club is up there in New York City. And we can't, I mean, they're telling me it's all fair. I can't listen to him. I can't listen to William. I can't, they're speculating. Well, I'll tell you what, when people tell me that the numbers FINRA publishes do not include delivery and do not include buying back, that's just a guess too. There's no proof that that point of view is correct. If there were proof, FINRA would publish the numbers. There's no proof. That's just saying, you know, we still have faith in the system, and we still believe that what worked in the 80s and the 90s and the turn of the century works now. With Reg Show in 2008, people like Kurt Kramer, Jeff Easton, Philip Valier, Hailey Kim, Sam Chung, John Howard, John Hancock, they just turned up the volume. They amped it up. They amped it up. And then you have Yorkville Advisors. You have, you know, one good thing I found out because their lawyers sent it to me. Ionic doesn't short stocks. Well, that was a really broad statement that lawyer made. And I tell you, if Ionic ever loses a case, that lawyer is going to be verifiable that he essentially, he's an officer of the court. He essentially should lose his license and be disbarred. But hey, while we're all friends, we all went to Yale and Harvard, and we worked at Goldman Sachs, and we're all being buddy because we want to have a job at Citadel when it's done. We're not going to enforce any of these rules. I'm telling you, guys and girls, if you broke the law the way these bastards break the law, your accounts would be shut down. You'd be thrown out of the business. And but it goes on. Smile, money, commissions, and then the money grows and grows. You know why it grows as they trade? 60% of high frequency trading, 60% of the profit is considered long-term capital gains. Why do they get that benefit? And then 40%, I guess, is short-term. But then if they have losses, which they never do, they can offset short-term losses against those short-term gains at 40%. So basically, they can trade aggressively in the short run with some of their other trading strategies, and it's a push. Because anyway, but let's just keep voting. Yeah, let's just keep voting for the same people in. All right. It closed at anyway, it closed at 395. That's not what my system said. But now I'm looking at showing the last closing price of 397. So 397. And then you have a 1,000,006. I know it's quad witching, but you know, this is another issue, and it's philosophical maybe, but why do you need quad witching on a stock that's 200 million market cap? Why do you need high frequency trading? Why do you need credit default swaps on low market cap stocks? Everything in the United States, from pork bellies, orange juice, oil, natural gas, gold, silver, probably if they could, they'd trade insulin and AIDS medicine. They'd put it up on the bullet board and make it a trading stock. This is all going to come to an end, by the way. Right? To me, the reason it hasn't ended yet is China wants to accumulate more gold and more oil and probably silver and other assets. But at some point, the Shanghai trading markets, the Dubai trading markets, and there's one other one, they'll start trading, and they will be where everyone goes instead of COMEX and the LSE. The LSE, COMEX, NYSE, NASDAQ, over-the-counter markets are all fraud. And the only way we get away with it now, because they used to be good. NASDAQ used to be a premier exchange. Absolutely the best. Here, I always don't, I think I did remember her name. But here is who's running NASDAQ. Adina Friedman. Big toothsome smile, very young. Somehow she's proud of what she does at NASDAQ. She's been CEO for 5 years, and she's smiling about it. She should wipe that smile off her face, because NASDAQ is a complete joke now. Complete joke. Yet CEOs still remember that it used to be good. She has 20 years of industry leadership. Maybe she left the leadership skills behind. She has no leadership. If you don't attack the hard questions, you're not a leader. And she has expertise. She's credited with significant contributions, which shaped NASDAQ's strategic transformation. Wow. To a leading global exchange and technology solutions company. What does all that gibberish mean? It's turned into a sophisticated abattoir. It has turned into a gold-plated slaughterhouse for CEOs and shareholders. But she smiles, the toothsome smile, Adina Friedman. She's proud of it. She makes more money than you guys do in a decade. Many of you. Prior to her appointment as CEO. Wow. The future is women. Ms. Friedman served as president and COO of NASDAQ throughout 2016. So for a whole year before she was promoted, she was COO and president. And she was responsible for overseeing all of the company's business segments with a focus on driving efficiency, product development, growth, and expansion. What a talented individual. Ms. Friedman rejoined NASDAQ in 2014 as president to oversee the technology, information, and corporate businesses that comprised over 2/3 of NASDAQ's revenues. Well, what I wonder are those? Is that the cooperation with the criminals? Prior to her return, she served as chief financial officer and managing director of the Carlyle Group for, it looks like 5 years, 4 years. 2011 to 2014. And then she played a significant role in taking Carlyle public in May of 2012. I'm sure it wasn't anyone else. Before Carlyle, Ms. Friedman was a key member of NASDAQ's management team for over a decade, serving in a variety of roles, including head of company's data products business. So she knows all about computers. She knows all about data. She doesn't see what they're doing to NASDAQ companies like MMAT. She doesn't care. CAUD, Fngr, and there's many more. CEOs spend years getting listed on Adena Friedman's NASDAQ exchange and they get destroyed. She does nothing. She does nothing. She smiles. Smiles. She earned her MBA from the Owen Graduate School of Management in Vanderbilt, Nashville. That's a good school, of course. She owns a BA in political science from Williams College in Massachusetts. She originally joined NASDAQ in 1993. Well, by the time she's gotten to the head, she's destroyed it. She's destroyed it, in my judgment. Somebody asked me about my eyesight. I went to the doctor. Did you see the doctor? Yes. And he has seen me. And he said, let's not decide today. So I don't know why. Okay. Do you want to know how much money Adena Friedman makes a year? And this is why she doesn't enforce anything. This is why she's just a lackey for the criminals. You want to know how much she makes a year? How about this? How much she makes a month? You want to know how much she makes a month? No wonder she's smiling. You want to know how much Adena Friedman makes a month? $2.333 million a month. $2.33 million a month Adena Friedman makes, smiling at NASDAQ and doing F all to protect you or CEOs from the slaughterhouse. But keep smiling, Adena Friedman. You go, girl. You're talented. You want to hear her? You want to hear her mission statement? She might have taken it down. She may have taken it down. I took a picture of it, I think. Let's see how much money Sarah Youngwood makes. She's low on the list. Well, it won't say. But Sarah Youngwood is the vice president's chief financial officer. She's the second to the bottom. Let's see the guy on the bottom, John Zecca. Anyway, it's John A. Zecca, Sarah Youngwood, Jeremy School, Brian Smith, Brad Peterson. Wow. Do I know this guy? Brad Peterson, Brendan Brothers, Tal Cohen, Michelle Daly, Nelson Griggs, and Adena T. Friedman. That's investor. Oh, it's publicly traded $54. It's such a conflict of interest. She's not there to protect you. She's there to make herself bloody wealthy. Doing F all. I can't find it, but she has a Kamala Harris type word salad about her mission statement. Anyway. All right, so Skinny Whale says 622,806 bought at 4 p.m. at 395. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. My E-Trade says 397. And when I was quoting it to you, it showed 402. I didn't make it up. It said close at 402. But I will admit that it doesn't seem to be the most sophisticated data because later it sometimes changes. So Q Exchange. I haven't been able to buy GTI at Wells Fargo for 6 months. Yeah, NASDAQ used to be the best over-the-counter firm. It was just the biggest of the over-the-counter firms. Now, everything's consolidated. I agree with you, P Money. It's all going to end in tears. It's all going to end in tears. And you're not negative. It's all going to end in tears. It will. The market cannot sustain. Why does Adina Friedman deserve to make $28 million a year in salary? Why? She's doing a crap job. Unless her job is to be there to protect Goldman Sachs. If that's her job, she's doing a great job. But the problem is it's based on printing money. It's based on moving dollars and certificates around. It's all based on rehypothecating, high-speed trade. It's all fraud. What do we make anymore? When I was growing up, they used to argue, all we make is hamburgers anymore. Well, now what are we making? Financial fraud. And Adina Friedman is part of it. And God bless her. She's gonna be worth 200 or 300 million by the time she's done. But remember, there's a 10-cent pay gap going on. Who does the husband work for? I don't know. I don't know that she's married. I don't care. I'm just sick of these people. Robert Cook, Gary Gensler, Adina Friedman, I don't know who's in charge of the OTC markets. I mean, look, that's another smiling face. R. Cromwell Colson is the head of the OTC markets. Another person that's doing nothing. The head of TradeWeb is Billy Holt. The head of the CBOE Global Markets is Edward T. Tilley. Liquid net is Mark Govani. Iberia is Fernando Cardolana. And I can see one thing standing out. It's really unfair. It's mostly men that run these, only one woman. They're all worthless. They're all worthless. This guy that runs OTC markets, R. Cromwell Colson. CEO and a director of OTC markets. He's responsible for the company's overall growth and strategic direction. Another slaughterhouse for companies. Cromwell has transformed the company from a privately held publisher of broker-dealer quotations into a publicly traded disaster, operating 3 public markets for 12,000 securities, constantly rotated out because as the criminals seller box them, they have to delist them. Trading nearly 713 billion in market value annually. Cromwell is a strong advocate of improving access to capital for small companies so they can get slaughtered, supporting a diverse ecosystem of broker dealers, and empowering investors with information. He empowers you with information. He has testified before Congress. Wow. He's testified before Congress. What a talented guy. And he's spoken on these and other issues at numerous industry conferences. What a good guy. What a good guy. R. Cromwell Colson. Cromwell is a former chair for 1 year of the Fngr Market Regulation Committee that advises FINRA on rulemaking and trading issues. FINRA. Bought and paid for, captured FINRA. Prior to OTC markets, Cromwell was an institutional trader. He traded for the criminals. He traded for the criminals. And portfolio manager at Carr Securities Corporation. He holds an OPM from Harvard Business School and received his BBA from Southern Methodist University. You know, when you do business with a preacher, policeman, or a painter, an oil man once told me, grab for your wallet. Guys and girls, we have to stop accepting this level of incompetency, downright degenerate service to we as investors. This R. Cromwell Calder is there to protect the hedge funds and the prime brokers. And it's an absolute lie that he's there to empower us with information. Absolute lie. But we love it as long as we can order from Amazon and drive into McDonald's and buy a Happy Meal at twice the price and can bomb people across the world and everything's great. We can check. Now it's Taylor Swift. It was Kim Kardashian. Next week it'll be some other person we follow. And life is grand. Market's going up, and we don't have to hold the people in charge at OTC markets, FINRA, SEC, NASDAQ. We don't have to hold them accountable. Let them make their hundreds of millions. They get paid better than baseball players. But hey, it's great. They're doing such a good job for us. Why worry? I like that. Technology solutions or skirt regulatory system, proprietary high-speed trading algos. I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't know about ASRE. The Voice did a great job today. Great job. He's already spoken, but you can replay it. There you go, Skinny. They get paid to keep their mouths shut, look the other way. And then CEOs and board members on companies, they don't want to go against them because each one of them wants to have a chance to get those kind of big bucks. All tainted money. All of it's tainted money. They teach you at Harvard, if you're going to steal big. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. I'm so sick of it all. So they got Giuliani, Frankie Sen. I don't know what side you're on that. I can't talk about it. This YouTube is censored, so I can't talk about that. I'm glad that in the United States, we have the freest, fairest, most transparent elections in the world. I'm glad that we have our right to vote as one person, one vote. We do our elections all on one day, and we do them with paper ballots, high frequency voting machines, offshore counting and tabulating, onshore. And I feel grateful to be in a country, a democracy, which has the best election system in the world. And if you question it, I think you're violating my civil rights. And how dare you question an election in the United States? I mean, it's just unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I thought in 2016 that election got stolen by Russia. The Steele dossier. Didn't one of the people that ran get more popular votes because of California? And our electoral system should be thrown out? And wasn't there manipulation of the voting because of Russia, and the Steele dossier? But then, wait a minute, the Steele dossier, that guy was found out, that was paid for by somebody, can't remember. But other than the 2016 election, we have the most transparent, the most honest, and cannot be questioned elections in the world. So I'm grateful for that. And shame on Giuliani for ever questioning it. Yeah, Keith, I think that's right. Well, if you had a chance to follow the election, there was some sort of, I mean, just to keep everything above board and honest, there was a raid on German counting machines. But anyway, I'm sure it was just to keep it honest. All right, I'm going to, it's 4:42. If there's a question, I'll answer it. I do want to say, I mean, Jay's right that GTII is down, down, down. We had chances to trade out of it. And a year ago, I could have had a nice bit of cash. I didn't do it. But it's hard to sell. It's the hardest decision at all. It is really difficult to sell. But the fact is, in GTII, in Fngr, in several stocks, even Skinny Whale sold CAUD at a nice price. She got, I think, 550. That's like 45 cents a share for Logic, because that was the ratio, 12 to 1. I mean, that's a pretty good trade she made. But it's so hard to, in the case of CAUD, I couldn't sell. They didn't give me, there was no tradable stock. I mean, so what? There was fraud there. But if we had sold GTI, I bought it back. Sold. But anyway, we are where we are. But there's this window of time to sell a stock and then buy it back in 31 days. I'm getting the pretty clear, and he didn't tell me anything, but I'm hearing from him a really clear indication that something's going on the enforcement side that might affect GTII. But if any of my instincts work anymore, which they don't, it's a fraudulent market, it feels like for at least the next 2 weeks, there's going to be selling pressure in all of these stocks, all of them, for tax loss reasons. It's the path of least resistance. I do think that Fngr motion is showing underlying strength. I could be wrong. I mean, and then today was, as Not Legal Advice pointed out, today was triple witching hour, which means options, futures, expiry, all these different things close at once, ripe for manipulation. That Adina Friedman says, hey, it's okay. It's okay. Goober Gary Gensler made $125 million fortune. Clinton Foundation, Clinton election, and Goldman Sachs. You think they're here to help you? Dream on, dream on. But anyway, we still have to get through these 2 weeks. But once we get through it, January, February, it didn't really work last year. I forget which stocks I was playing. It didn't really work, but it could work this year. Ham brought up PRTT. There's GDC. There's some other stocks that were brought up. But I think and Ham makes a really good point. As soon as you sell GTII, there'll be an announcement and it's $50. But I really think that you don't have to be frozen if you feel like you have losses and you're upset. You can take advantage of losses in stocks. I personally, I don't think I'd sell Fngr. It feels like something, is up. I don't know. It's a feeling. It's not factual. GTII, the risk is you sell, you wait 31 days to establish your tax loss, and you're selling at the lows, because as soon as we get around into January, that artificial selling stops. That's the risk. And I can't ameliorate that risk. On the other hand, to me, there's Fngr, there's CAUD, which there's an inflection point going on in CAUD. If the board doesn't recognize that someone at the hedge funds, someone at Caldron or whatever it is, financial, or maybe Aubrey SPAC itself destroyed the market share and worked with the criminal counterfeiters. I also think that everything was done counterfeiting. There's those out there say, oh, it's just high frequency trading back and forth. FINRA only looks at one side of the trade, not the other. Why would that be? They don't have the computer power to offset their count. They have a computer power to count the failed to locates, but they don't have, which is illegal anyway, by the way, in the case of CAUD. There were no shares to locate. But they're good clients. They're good clients. I don't know. Anyway, I think CAUD could be a great trade over a 90-day period, a 6-month period, if they get beyond that one mental leap. And I think they will. I think they will. But logic at 2.5 cents is going to be bought by a big company, and it'll be worth something per share to us, and we'll have it. Now, does it take 30 days, 90 days, 120 days? That's the rub. That is the rub. But that's almost certainly a 5x from here, 15x. My cost basis in logic is 0.214. So it's going to be hard for me to make money strictly if I look at it from a logic standpoint. But I did get some CAUD shares. Anyway, that would be one place to look at over these next few days to buy. HNRC, the risk is that they did take, Frank Kristen did take a toxic financing sometime in the past. The other risk I saw is some of the assets that went to him and to others. There wasn't much of a capital contribution, but it was a year, more than 2 years longer ago. So that's just how it is. You start with little and you make it bigger. But if that is not the case, which it may not, that company sold non-core assets for 15 cents a share. It's trading at 3 cents or something. And he's going to pay a dividend. I believe him. The risk is if he pays a stock dividend instead of cash, I don't think that'll excite anybody. I think that'll play into the hand of the criminals. Unless he does it as a restricted share that goes through the transfer agent, that might help. But anyway, if he pays some or all of that as cash, which is what I think he's leaning to, who cares? I mean, who cares where the stock trades? It's more than you're paying for the stock. Anyway, those are 2 or 3 ideas of what you can buy before the end of the year. Now, to flip it on its head, Fngr and Gtii both could be bought during this period of time while there's selling pressure. And there's others out there. All right, it's 4:51. Let me just see if there's any. Hey, Susan, Scott. Wow, I didn't know about that default. I don't think they're going to let 145 trillion default, but that's what you're looking for. And when I tie it in to my view that peak oil is real. Now, the two things that argue against peak oil, three things. One is demand destruction. Two is, and I have to find the title of the book, but a pretty smart guy put out a book recently. I cannot remember it, and I hope I can find it, that explains why we're going to have a population collapse by 2050. And if I remember some of it, it has to do with Europe, Japan, and the United States, although we just let in maybe 20 or 30 million people. So maybe that's why we're letting it in, letting so many people in, is that our birth rates are low. China too. So anyway, that would argue against it. Technology would argue against it as well. But failing that, peak oil isn't about the world not having oil. It's about inexpensive oil. That's what it's about. So there is something like 300 trillion, and I've seen estimates higher, of default swaps in the world. And then government debt is enormous. So anyway, if you see trouble in those markets, that is it for all of us. And I think one of the triggers could be if all of a sudden all these countries, trading desks realize there's not enough cheap energy to continue to quote unquote grow the economy, to pay back all of this debt, and to buttress credit default swaps and what's the other name for them? I'm forgetting right now. Anyway, that's the house of cards that our modern global financial system is on. And I think a lot of these people I just read to you making all this money, they're just stealing while they can, because they know time is short. $384 million. That doesn't sound like a lot of money. Doesn't sound like a money. All right, I'm gonna End of the World is Just Beginning by Peter Zeihan. Well, that sounds exciting. I'm more optimistic than that. When I say the several, I'll take a picture of that. I don't want to write it down. I think if we just face the situations and make changes, our future can be bright. The birds still sing, dogs still come up to you with wagging tails, horses still run around fields. And little babies go goo goo gaga. Well, Skinny, the let me see if I can confirm that. Let's see if this does it. Can't find it. I hate it when I can't think of the right question. Maybe this will do it. They don't, it's funny, Skinny. They don't want to make it a headline, but here's one headline. India and the United Arab Emirates moved to settle crude oil transactions in national currencies. That's August 14th. Telling you, the UAE, the Emirates were one of the most solid countries supporting dollar-based oil prices. And when they cave, not a good sign for us. If we see a 50-cent ask with a 30 bid, could we buy at the ask and bring up the bid price? Well, that's what big buyers should do. Let's say somebody, I assume you're talking about, I don't know, GTII. If a whale wanted to buy 10 million shares and really move the stock, go in and, I mean, it might be foolish to put the whole 10 million shares up, but let's just use the example. Go in and buy 10 million shares, and that's the real word is bid for 10 million shares at 50 cents. That's the ask. See how much you'll get. And, I think if you went in and bought 10,000 shares at 50 cents, the criminals would come in under the ask, give you a discount in that high, what the Citadel, whatever his name is, Griffin, would come in lower, and then it would never show demand. It would never touch the 50 cents. So go in with 10 million shares to buy at 50 cents. Probably won't get filled, but maybe you get filled on 1 million shares. Leave the 9 million there. That becomes the bid. The ask will move up. Leave it there for a little while. They'll put an ask out at, maybe they put it out at 55 cents. Okay. Move your bid to 55 cents. 9 million shares at 50. Cancel it at 50. Put it in 55 cents. Maybe you only get 300,000 shares, and it goes 8,700,000 bid at 55 cents. By then they're nervous. Maybe they offer 50,000 shares at 65 cents. Well, sit around a while. Move 8.7 million shares to 65 cents. You probably won't even get 50,000 off. And just sit there, and that's how you make the price go up. And then more importantly, at some point, I don't know that it would be at those numbers, but maybe at $1, maybe at $2. I don't know. I'm guessing the Alpine Prime Brokerage starts getting nervous because they're losing real money, and they buy in. And then you go from $2, $2.50 to 10 to 20 to 30. But yes, CB, that's a good strategy. All right, I'm going to say good night. It's 5:01. I wish each of you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Atheist Day. I don't know. Happy Universe Day. And extend each of you peace in your life, love in your life, happiness in your life. And I don't know if I'm going to come on over the weekend, but I'm going to try to get my storage changed so I can do some short videos on some of these stocks. I might do that over the weekend. Otherwise, we'll see you down the road, and it may be as late as Monday. It might be Sunday night. I'll let you know. I hope with at least 15 minutes notice. So anyway, ciao. Ciao, Bella.